What's up, friends? Welcome to another episode of the Road to 150 Tuesday edition. Right? Tuesday? Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Tuesday
Tuesday.
edition. Yes, nailed it, nailed it. I am one of your hosts, hostie. Yes,
Host.
hostie, hostess. Well, hostess sounds sounds like a girl. Anyways, Davis Pang, writer for Fantasy Six Pack, and with me, the owner of the channel, your one half mitten champion, the ever so dope. Gotta whisper this part. Hope. How you doing, Hope?
I'm good, Davis. I'm doing great. Excited to be here. Back talking to best ball. Got a new contest to draft in. It's a good time. Been ripping some BBMs over the long weekend as well. So kind of trying to keep pace there. I know I'm gonna have to make up some quite a bit actually as we keep going. But yeah, no, it was a really good weekend. Got to go home. Got to see the family. See my new nephew. So that
You
was a
gotta.
lot of fun.
Did you at least watch that episode of Seinfeld like I told you to? So you can
Oh
at least
no,
say that
I did not watch any Seinfeld. No.
you have to be. You went to go see the baby. That was literally your one chance. Whatever. It's fine.
Gonna watch it on the both planes.
It's fine.
Um,
It's fine. Whatever. Yes, but we are driving the way to Chihuahua today instead of BBM. Sorry, we had to change it up, but the new contest came out and it's limited.
yeah, we got to get that thing maxed. What's up,
It's already
FFG?
13% filled. It was released like 4 p.m. in my time today or something. It's
Oh
like,
no,
oh god.
I think the 25 max will slow some people down.
Yeah.
But it's a really good contest. It's good structure, flat payouts. Like it's kind of everything I want in a cheaper contest like that, lower entry. So I'm excited to do that. We're definitely maxing that one. So I'm excited to see all this. I just love all the different ones. And Hayden even teased something that his favorite contest hasn't been even dropped yet. His favorite structure of a new contest they have. So super excited to see what that's going to be. We've heard some teases in the off season of, or earlier in the off season of some new contests they're going to have. So I'm excited. What's up, Dennis? And Steph said she's been in the Chihuahua a lot today. So
I don't
that's
know. She says I've been drafting Chi, so I'm assuming that's not
good
that's
try.
the Chai.
We
I'm the
know.
drafting Chai. Yeah, I haven't started yet, so this will be my first Chihuahua of the day when we started off, and then I'm kind of curious what Hayden has. I was rooting for the Dachshund. I won a 14-man, 14-round draft, but apparently that's not cool with people. Injuries are like the problem. Oh, damn, 14 rounds and 14 players. Whatever. You guys will come crawling back when you want the Dachshund.
Yeah, Guillotine League would be fun.
Yeah, I would
As well.
crush you guys in that. I'm not gonna lose. No Jameson Williams for me and those teams.
Steph says the Chihuahua landscape was soft, so excited to get in those and get that max. We got a little bit on the docket today, talking about some guys that we think are going too high. A couple guys we're thinking going too low. So if you want to kick it off for us, Davis, who is the guy that you think is going too low that more people need to be drafting?
I've been touting him a little bit lately, but I'm gonna just push him one more time. It's my buddy Michael. No, I'm just kidding. It's no, it's DJ Moore. So, I did a subtweet to myself about like Justin Fields is somebody that's going to throw more. I don't care what anyone says. They threw at an average of like 21 pass attempts per game. 21. There are running backs who run the ball more than they did pass attempts last year. And that is not their average. That was not normal Bears MO. Bears threw, I think, 30 to 32 times a year prior. So obviously the shift was, hey, Darnell Mooney's hurt. We got 45-year-old Velus Jones and, bootleg St. Brown and then N'Keal Harry and Dante Pettis. Like, okay, this is not enough to throw the ball at. So they did what they did to try to win games. Did it work? No. But it got close. It made at least exciting football to run the ball and have Justin Fields run the ball like 52 times per match. So I'm just not. I expect DJ Moore to come there now that he's there. The offensive line's better. Darnell Mooney's healthy. He's assuming his wide receiver 2 role. Chase Claypool still sucks. I get it. I'm not a fan, but those two guys will be enough. That is not a bad wide receiver duo.
It's
You
not.
know, far from it. Looks better than Carolina and Houston. And their quarterback Justin Fields, everyone was in on him. So the completion ratio is going to go up. They're going to go from their bottom 58% to 60, 65 with DJ Moore, this guy who's basically DeAndre Hopkins light. So they're going
It's
to
a good
pass the ball
point.
30 to 33 times per game at least. It's going to go up 30% from 21 last year. DJ Moore's going to eat. we say it every year, but this is the best quarterback DJ Moore has had to play with since he's been in the league. The bar is very low. Okay, Baker was not my choice for it, but everyone that says Baker last year, I still thought it was Sam Darnold. Either way, Fields is such a step up. He can extend plays. We know he can get the ball down the field, and we see what happens when quarterbacks get a little bit of help, right? Trevor Lawrence was considered a bust after year one, and look at him. Josh Allen
Urban
was
Meyer.
pretty bad his first 2 years
Yeah.
until he got Stephon Diggs. You know, so sign me up. DJ Moore is the guy I'm pumping up. He's way too low.
I'm kind of with DJ Moore as far as a guy that target because, and I'm kind of take the opposite way of I'm not a big Mooney person. I'm not a big Claypool person. I don't even love Komet. And so I think DJ Moore is just going to dominate targets there because he's far and away the best player. So whether you like Mooney or not, you think he's a good, wide receiver too, it doesn't really matter for DJ Moore because you could play that both ways, right? You can say, oh, yeah, he's a solid number 2. He's going to take some pressure off of him. Or if you think he sucks, then DJ Moore is going to dominate targets. So I'm right there with you.
DJ Moore has fallen behind Mike Williams, Terry McLaurin, and he's barely ahead of Christian Kirk and barely ahead of Ayuk. Like barely ahead of those guys. So I don't know how much further Moore needs to go, but he's basically on everyone's team as a wide receiver 3-4. If you're the 101, you're getting him as your 3 to 4th receiver. Like that's money in the bank in my book. And he's wide receiver 26, was being drafted as wide receiver like 14 last year.
Yeah.
Yours?
Right.
Give me your too low, too cold player that needs to be up a little bit higher.
Yeah, just a little bit too. And I think that's another big thing. We're not saying like, oh, this dude should be a 1st round pick or a 3rd round pick in my case, but a guy I think is a couple rounds too low, and we talked about him a little bit, but it's David Montgomery, right? And I mean, like, no, he's not going to score 17 touchdowns like Jamal Williams did. They drafted a guy in the 1st round, Jahmyr Gibbs, who they obviously love. I personally think they hated DeAndre Swift. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. So there's there's a little bit of context there, but he's going as the RB27 right now. And I think I would feel super comfortable taking him right behind Dameon Pierce at like, is it RB20? Sorry, I wrote the RB21. So I think he's a couple rounds too low. He's going behind DeAndre Swift, who's in a murky time split on an awesome offense. Going behind Dalvin Cook.
We don't even know.
Yeah, he's not even on a team. Behind Isaiah Pacheco. And so, yeah, I mean, and Jamal Williams, and I get like he's not going to repeat that. The workload's going to be more split. But the guy was the RB8 in half-point PPR fantasy last year, catching 12 passes on the entire year. And David Montgomery is just a better player than Jamal Williams is. He's going to catch more than 12 balls. He's not going to catch a ton because Jahmyr Gibbs is there. But Jameson Williams is also suspended the first 6 weeks. Like, we always get the offseason trope of, this RB's running out of the slot. Like, it might actually finally happen in Detroit just because their receiving core outside of Amon-Ra. Now, Amon-Ra's in the slot, but we might see Jahmyr Gibbs split out a little bit, and I think if it's ever going to happen in the NFL, it could happen in this situation. So, yeah. I want to load up on David Montgomery. He's going in that range with James Conner. I like both of those guys as getting volume, especially it's a half PPR site, by the way. Touchdowns. So give me some David Montgomery.
David Montgomery had a season low last year. And even though they're going to count on him that he had X amount of snaps, he had a season low. He was probably healthy for 13 to 14 games. And the year before that, he was healthy for 13, 14 games. Now, this is actually me agreeing with you, by the way. I'll finish this. But he still got 6 overall touchdowns last year. And the year before that, he still, I think, got about 7 to 8 touchdowns. And he averages about 1,100 yards from scrimmage. So 800 from rushing and like 300 from receiving, right? Jamal Williams obviously didn't catch anything.
No.
But Montgomery can catch passes. He's shown he can.
And the Bears' offensive line the last couple of years has been horrible. The Lions have a really good offensive line.
Yeah.
It's a huge upgrade.
He's just got to plod. And
yes.
Sign me up, dude. Like,
Plotter's going to plod. Make that our new slogan. But I mean, even the contract, right? They gave him the biggest free agent running back contract. So,
and not to be a dick to like Amon-Ra, but do we think Amon-Ra gets like 10 touchdowns? Probably not. We think he's a 6 to 8 guy kind of situation.
Probably.
And if we think that the offense in the Lions is high powered, it's going to be on the ground. Like, I could easily see a situation where David Montgomery walks away with 8 touchdowns. Like, no problem. Yeah. Like, they had over-unders, I'd take that. I'd be like, oh, yeah, just give me 8. I don't give a crap. Give me 10 even, They're going to – the first 6 games where they don't have Jameson Williams, that's going to be a big time to have David Montgomery.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that one.
Who's someone you've got going too high and needs to be knocked down a peg or two?
This one's gonna sting because people are gonna give me shit about this. This is Josh Jacobs, man. Like, I'm sorry, you guys. The people are like overbuying Josh Jacobs. I get it. You guys think if you draft him a lot this year, it's gonna make him for what you didn't do last year. That's not how this works. You don't get rollover points. Josh Jacobs is what, going on the 2-3 turn next to Derrick Henry. Josh Jacobs has only been realistically an RB12, I think, twice in his career, and most of the time it's very close. He's perpetually like RB16, RB20. Wrote an article about Travis Etienne, and I pivoted it saying, why would you draft, RB16 to 20 Travis Etienne when you can get Josh Jacobs at like RB30 that's going to be 16 to 20? Obviously, he overshot it. I look like a genius, but no one expected that. He's not going to get 1,600 ground yards again. He's not going to have, I don't know how many attempts he had last year, borderline 300 or whatever. The man has barely survived. That was his first time playing his entire season.
Yeah.
And we expect him to just all of a sudden just be the epitome of health. He's not getting the contract he wants. I guarantee you at some point, this guy does not get the contract he needs and he takes an injury. We see an Allen Robinson situation. Boom. He's
Really?
just going to ride it
Also,
out.
did you see the tweet he sent out today?
I did not.
He
But
just tweeted bad business
oh, yes, I saw that one.
about the contract stuff.
Yeah, it's just he's not gonna get what he wants. He's not gonna get, and there's no reason for them to. But that last year was his first full season ever in his career, and we know he's talented. But there's a reason the Raiders aren't giving him a full contract. There's a reason he's not gonna get there, and that's the one. There's also the reason that he's not gonna repeat 13 touchdowns or 12 touchdowns to the ground. It's just asking for way too much for this. 340 rushing attempts. We think it's gonna happen twice. He became very inefficient at times. So I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to keep kicking Josh Jacobs. I do love him, but not at that price.
Yeah, I think he's okay in the third. Like, if he's your anchor, I'm fine still taking shots on him. But he's definitely someone I cooled on.
Stephanie makes a point. She took Pollard over him. I take Derrick Henry over him. On a year-to-year basis. Yeah, that's the thing. We're taking 3 guys over him. That just tells me we don't like him. And somebody out there, though, is drafting him consistently. And they're chasing what he did last year, which is
it does feel a little bit of a chasing situation for last year.
He doubled his rushing yards from last year. Hope. How many people double their rushing yards and then you give it up?
No, it's gonna be impossible for him to keep it up. But he's not gonna repeat what he did last year. I still think though, getting in the third round, like if he's back with the Raiders and all this contract stuff goes away, like they don't have much else, right? So I still think he's gonna get a ton of touches with the Raiders, and so I think he's okay. Yeah, he's a guy I don't want to be super overweight on. But I think that makes sense to your points there.
8%, fine. I can't ever argue 8%. It makes some sense. But I think there's people who are overloading him. Like they're just defaulting to him at 14, 15, 16%. And he's been perpetual RB16, and you're paying like RB7 prices for him right now.
I think that's fair. Yeah, so my guy, and like this is one for both of us, when we were talking about this is both a guy we're not as high on this year, and it's Deebo Samuel. And it's scary to say because, right, Deebo's a grown-ass man, right? He runs through tackles. He makes these huge splash plays. Like, it's scary to say you're not as in on Deebo. But it's just his ADOT last year was like 4.3. Ridiculously low, like half of Ayuk's. When Purdy came in, Deebo just kind of fell off a cliff. Like, I'll say his targets, though. I'll give him credit. He still got targets, right? And so, but he just didn't do anything with them. So I'm nervous about Deebo this year. It's such a crowded room. They have the big 4 there, right? CMC, Kittle, Ayuk, Deebo. Give me all the Kittle in that scenario. Even Ayuk's a touch scary. Tarek says he's all the way in on Deebo. I think it's fair. Man. Like no, Deebo. No, yeah, you go ahead. You pick up.
No, go for it.
No, and I'll give him credit. Like I was looking at he still got 7 targets, 6, 9, 7, 10, 5, and 3 when all of the big 4 were there. He didn't do anything. He had 1 usable week, and it was like 18 points. I think, though, and we talked about this too, Deebo could be a good low advance rate guy on a kind of a 0 RB team, right? Because, he's not going to be consistent with that offense and all the different options they have. But if you do a 0 RB build and he's your wide receiver 3 or even 4, I've had him fall to pick 50 in a couple of my drafts, and I'm scooping him there. Another one to pick 45 as well. So I think he can be a good low advance rate guy who's always got like he does have that nuclear upside. We've seen it. We've seen him go off for 40. Now we've seen that before they got CMC and some of his rushing, um, went away when they got CMC. But there is contingent upside, right? CMC goes down, Ayuk goes down. He could see a much bigger role. So he's not someone I'm full fading by any means. I'm still gonna have Debo on my teams, but he's a guy I'm worried about, and I think he's going a little too high.
Yeah, this is like a build
He is
situation.
a
I think
gam. There's no denying Debo Samuel is a gam, and he is good at the game of football. Like that's not what I'm saying
what's a
at all.
gam? Break that down for me.
Grown
What's a
ass
gam?
man.
Oh yeah, there we go.
DK Metcalf, other famous gams.
I like Debo. He's a guy I like fucking perpetually had a ton of in BBM2. I'm like, hey, this guy's going round 6, round 7, round 8, and you guys are all pushing Brandon Ayuk to round 4. People forget that was the case. I thought that was funny. I was like, oh, Debo is a better player. And Debo, I still think Debo is a better player. Obviously, he's shown his utility. He has the speed. He has the strength. He does not mind making linebackers check themselves.
Absolutely.
But
It's a
the
scary
problem when
fade to me.
But the problem with that is like when your A dot is so bad. This is kind of why I didn't like guys like Hunter Renfro. If your A dot's 4, that means you're catching 4 yards out, and then you have to face the other 11 guys on the other side of the field almost immediately, right? Like that just means you have the world to go against you, and there's only so many times that you can be efficient doing that. His efficiency numbers from from 2 years ago, was ridiculous. I think he had like it was like 18.9 yards per reception at some. It was like that was like the ending season numbers. There's no one that can repeat that or aren't just taking deep shots. Like his numbers were just
And
ridiculous.
forget how many rushing touchdowns did he score?
Like 6, 7.
Yeah, I mean it's just not gonna happen again.
So here's the thing, Tarek. His A dot was actually higher the year before. His A dot was like 9 to 10 yards the year before. It went down from like 10 or like 9 to like 4.5. So they decided to cut his targets like depth way less. They said, "Hey Jimmy G, your elbow like looks hurt, right? Like just throw a little bit lower, throw a little bit shorter." And same thing for Purdy. I do think some things will change because Purdy will be onto his year 2.
Yeah.
But I question if he's going to have repeatable numbers. But if he's falling 45, 50, and etc., then yeah, we're talking about a different situation. We're talking 1 to 2 whole rounds in difference. Sign me up. But at round 3, where I could be grabbing one of those running backs, where I could be grabbing upside receivers, heck, I keep grabbing Lamar, Mark Andrews. Like, just sign me up for those guys instead. It just makes way more sense than grabbing, someone that was just like hard to use last year. So, I agree with you on this one. I couldn't do it. I could not take any Debo right now unless he fell.
It's a tough one. It's a tough fade though, because right, like he makes awesome plays, and he is a gam and all those things. He's fun to watch. He's a great football player, and he's not a guy I'm completely fading, but I don't know. It's tough. He is someone I think is going a little too high for the consistency he's going to provide. But we will see, as they say. Ready to hop in?
Yep, let's do it.
6 people waiting for 6, waiting for 4.
3, 2, 1. There we go. I did a Dalmatian on the pound today. I was like, oh, streamer Dalmatian, why not? Let's just lower my EV. Oh, this is interesting.
Side by side, I like it.
Oh my god, that Tyreek Hill slapping a woman today.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like
Wait, is that what happened? I didn't see.
I didn't smacked the woman in the back of the head, so I feel like I'm gonna get Tyreek Hill at 4 now. They didn't press charges.
Wait, is that actually?
That's exactly what apparently the reports are. He smacked a woman in the back of the head.
I did not.
An employee at some park or boat or whatever. Yeah, that's rough. I don't know.
I do think this is fair. He was banged up last year. He ended up missing like 5 of the last 6 weeks. Like this is a good counter with him being banged up.
I think his play style puts him banged up though. There's a reason this man's never like really finished the season until 2 years ago.
That's also fair.
We talk about like how he checks linebackers, right? Like if he's checking linebackers and he's consistently injury, like I love watching the guy, but he isn't surviving seasons. And I think part of that is the reason for that.
That's a fair counterpoint to that as well.
Yeah. I think if his like yards per route, like if his yards per reception goes back to like 11, it just seems tough. Oh, all right. We're talking about smacking people. Oh man, it must be nice to get Chase.
Chase at 3? We'll take that.
hate you. Whatever. I'll stick with it. Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, there's the contract stuff with him last year. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I'm not gonna have 0. There was issues with him last year and going on,
I
and so
I want him at a dip. That's all that is. I just think it's much. I think
yeah.
having 18
These
yards.
weren't like guys were full fading. It's more so guys we think are just going a little bit too high or too low.
Exactly. Just a little too high or a little too low. And sometimes you have to watch those kind of picks because if you see it and you feel it and you're following people into those kind of things because somebody else likes them, I've always noticed trusting my gut
Let me see
usually
how
feels
much
better
of him
than
I actually
the other
have.
way around.
See if I'm talking outside of my mouth here. 2% in BBM. So
I like how flat you are. No, go back. I like how flat you were on that exact round. It's everyone's like at 8%. 8, 8, 8. Everyone around him is at exactly 8%. Christian Watson's at 8%. Jeez.
Keenan double. It's only 37 BBMs is what this is displaying though. Yeah, it is a gross part of the draft. The 3, 4, third and fourth rounds right now are my least favorite rounds to draft in.
I'm
Unless I'm
grabbing
taking
Cooper.
quarterback.
I'm grabbing Cooper almost instantaneously in those spots.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I'm
I have
scrolling
a
down. Like I'm not making myself take those guys.
13%. I'm taking Cooper as well. A little
Yeah,
Ridley.
I'm scrolling down. I'm grabbing
Andrews.
Najee, dude. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't make. People's asking for a lot. One good season, we're holding this guy to it. In the 3rd round, that's crazy to me. And some of his stats are irrepeatable. He had 8 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, 3, 4. This is the first time picking back to back in a draft.
Yeah, I think we've never done that.
Steph starts AJ Brown.
I'm glad that Diggs is going back up the boards. I'm feeling good about that. I took a lot of Diggs, and I know that the flood on him last week was really rough, and everybody was trying to push him down a little bit. So there was a small little dip there. My bags felt kind of bad because I was drafting him at 6 to 9. I mean, it sucks, like closing ADP value is a real thing. I get it. So I'm just like, it sucks when people are getting better value than me on my previous drafts, but I'm glad he's bouncing back up. Kelsey's fallen. A lot of the guys that took Kelsey in 1 to 4 are now feeling it because he's going 7 to 12 these days.
I know. I'm still waiting on my Kelsey dip. I have not selected him in BBM. I don't want 0 though, so I'm gonna have to start mixing him in. If I'm not gonna get to 8% on him probably, but I don't want to be fading Kelsey still.
There's definitely builds for Kelsey, man. Like I don't take him. I just can't. I feel like I fall behind, especially if I'm in the wrong room. If you get in a room that somehow has like running back people, great. But if you're in a room where like they're pissing yellow, oh, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it when you're standing there looking at Christian Watson. You're like, do I have to take Christian Watson because I took Travis Kelsey super early? None of that feels good. I get it. All right.
Let's see. Coming back around to our picks. Something we wanted to hit on, just touch on it briefly, and I know that he's gonna do some more explaining on it. But Josh from the is it Undroppables, correct?
The Undroppables, yes.
Yeah, he released some interesting data work that I know myself and some other people, are kind of questioning. But talking about stacking not mattering, I still think there's some work, and he even mentioned some stuff on Twitter that might not have been the most clear. But what was your initial reaction to what he dropped, and what did you think on that?
So I did engage with him a bit on it. So we know that stacking does not mean best player available. I do lean on best player available. I believe that you should have your teams making sense, that you don't have to really push forward on it. Neil actually saw what I said like on there, so I know Neil knows what I was talking about too. But
yeah, Neil pushed back a little bit too on some of the stuff he released, and I think Pete even mentioned they might have both of them back on to discuss the BestBall data bowl, and that would be interesting. It was a methodology. It's just so counterintuitive to the way we've built good winning fantasy lineups in both DFS and BestBall. So
it's lottery style, right? Like, and I've talked about this. I like grabbing best players.
Just pick the best players, man.
And I actually believe that's a thing. So we need to look at it from. to an extent. I think there's a way that makes sense for it, but you have to do your own projections. You have to do all that extra work, and and you just have to know you're not going to be right. So Josh Jacobs is a good example of someone best player on board last year that was going way beyond the case. And I think this is where, funny enough, that Josh likes Josh Jacobs. Is one of his favorite players this year. Uh, Let me take my pick first before I go super hams into this.
Yeah,
You know
just
what?
just
Grab my
play the
boy.
best plays. Like literally, just
Yeah, just
play
play the best
draft the
play.
guys to score the most fantasy points. It's not hard.
Yeah, it's a very generalistic way of drafting, and it's going off of or the case. But here's the thing: best scoring points on the season doesn't mean they're overall the best plays. Somebody that scores, 15 through every single week of the season will have amazing points, but he or she will only score 15 points. Then, like that's all that is. Like so. Anyways, best player on board, super nice. I get the idea, and I actually push for this quite a bit because I do think there is such a thing as overstacking when you start taking three people from the same team and your skill sets. There
I
are
mean, it
people
all
who did
depends on
that.
what you spend on it as well.
Exactly. But people do push those kind of picks. They're like, I gotta take three, three Chargers. That's a big one this year. Like everyone's just shoving all the Chargers into one team with Justin Herbert, right? Let's be real. We know that's not going to be the best thing on board, or on average, that's never really truly worked out. So when do you take that? Make sure you don't have to stack all your picks, but I think having stacks narrows your ranges and narrows your ranges gives you more consistency. When you're lotto picking, as you call it, like parlaying, you're very inconsistent. Like you're just
Yeah.
extremely inconsistent on a week to week basis. So yes, you will probably win your regular season and get a good advance rate because you had 14 weeks of having the best players do the best things, but you probably also will have automatic eliminations in playoffs
And that, I mean,
because
that just even if you have to still pick the right players. Like that's my big thing is,
yeah,
and we all have different edges. Some people believe their edges are in player takes. Other believes it's in game theory and beating the game and stuff like that. And that's the side I lean to. Obviously, I have takes. I have player takes that I sprinkle in more so. I don't know. I just think it's. I don't even want to say like. I don't know. I think it's kind of arrogant, like to think that you can just pick. Like you're gonna pick the best players every single time, and like you're gonna just build these elite rosters over and over and over.
and that's the
Um,
other thing too. Like you're also not varying for actual picks. You're not varying for how the draft is playing out. What if someone just grabs your player? Like what do you do then? That kind of stuff. And I was able to disprove one of the things when he talked about like week 17 where these were the best players, and then I was like, well, they were the literally worst in week 15, 16. Like the literal worst players to have in week 15, 16. Could you build a roster to advance? And I obviously wasn't meant to challenge that, but it's the idea is if you're looking at it from a 1 week basis, then yes, these guys were the best. I
yeah.
think that's one of those interesting things. And to Steph's point, I get it. The Chargers can score a bunch of points, sure, but there's been very, very, I can't really think of an offense, or at least often, or even 25% of the league where if you drafted three players from one team plus their quarterback, that it worked out for you.
Yeah.
That's
I
just
I
hasn't
think that's
happened yet.
fair. Um,
So I
but
think
yeah,
it's
no, I'm with in Fantasy
splitting
Garage
stack
mentioned it
people.
like
Yeah.
yeah, and it's cool to see someone dive into the data. Like I'll be the first to admit, I don't have those skills to get in there and code and look through the data and I respect all the different opinions and am always open to learning and we're early in best ball, so who knows, but um yeah, that's a good point too from Raj. Like leaning into your player takes. I was gonna take DJ Moore if you didn't.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I like, and I agree. I'm very much so taking best player on board.
I'm just
I do
taking
think
Hop.
that as good as I was at doing it, I also don't think that I'm good enough to get 18 out of 18 correct. I can probably get 4 to 5 and guess which offense overall is going to be pretty solid, right? I think we as fantasy people in general can say we know that the offense is going to be pretty good. We know this offense is going to be pretty good. I last year faded the entirety of freaking the Chiefs. I thought everyone was overpaid for them. I was like, hey, this seems like a little much, guys. We're drafting all these Chiefs super early. It's a little excessive, and it worked out. And I think that's where the research kind of takes you for. But I don't think you're going to get 18 for 18 correct.
Yeah, and having awesome player takes can, like you said, it can pay off massively. Like it can give you a super high advance rate, and then you can get some of these low advance rate guys through if you nail on two or three of those. And that's something I'm doing a little bit more. Like I do draft more balanced, but I'm perfectly happy full fading people this year compared to other
Oh,
years.
you're so lucky. Did you see who just fell to you? You're happy. I know
Yeah,
you
my
are.
guy Drake London, I'm taking him.
Don't you want second quarterback? You
Do
want
I
your
want?
second? Yeah, just take Justin Fields. Boo. Whatever. I'll take it. I'll take the stack. I gotta eat my own words today. I take player stands all the time. Obviously I'm sitting on like 55% James Conner and 50% DK Metcalf in Seattle last year. But I think value has to make sense for it. Half the stacks I do, I think they have to make a lot of sense. But I also haven't won a tournament either, so I got to figure that out portion also. Advance rate's cool, and I believe that it's a big portion, but I will say that it's really tough having zero stacks. I believe in skinny stacks. I don't believe in overstacking. I think overstacking is overdone this year, and you're gonna see a lot of teams just get fried. I think I was in one of my Dalmatians. It was like some guy just took like all of the Cowboys. He just went like cowboy like Lions the entire way through his entire draft. And I don't know if that's gonna make top four in our Dalmatian.
Yeah, I mean, if it probably isn't, but also like smaller field, it does make more sense, right? Like 4 out of 12 advance. If you just hit on these two awesome offenses, and then you get to week 17, and
Yeah,
you've just got all the pieces of this awesome game. Obviously, you can go overboard, but I do think like Giga stacking makes more sense in a smaller field, smaller final.
that's also just rough though. Giga stacking is there's a skinny stacking or Giga stacking is just ridiculous. So we've
And
and I
also,
think
it depends on like spend as well.
I do like that pushback though of hey maybe we're stacking too much. And I always will appreciate research like that because I do think that a lot of fantasy data and even like this is what makes Leone like just king for this kind of stuff is just saying like hey this isn't gonna win you millions of dollars. This will just help your teams. And I think that's where I always respected like hey these all just go hand in hand. ADP bucket, stacking, etc. Like these all go hand in hand. It's not one thing guarantees you more wins than the other.
Yeah, Herzig did a team with lots of Chiefs, and again, yeah, I think it depends on what you spend on them. Late picks, you're probably not hitting on those guys anyway. Just correlate and stack, and like that's the way I do my late picks,
Yeah,
especially.
I think stacking like that's a lot better towards the end. But I think last year we can say like that was just terrible. Like you took Juju, MVS, Sky Moore in the first 90 picks, and you took Kelsey with Mahomes. You probably did in advance.
Probably.
I take a lot of the late guys right now. I know right now everyone's jumping Giants. For a while, everyone in our chat was doing a lot of Rams. I think we still are. There's a lot of people when ask me like, "Hey, where's your Van Jefferson shares at?" Tyler Higbee's. There's just value for a lot of guys. I know that Addison's been taking a hit lately. People are kind of out on Addison. Oh God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I hate this part of the draft is hard. Screw it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I want here. Let's see. I'm not picking Tony. I'm just not doing it. I'll take a pitch share.
But don't we have a bet? You got to take your guy. We
He's my
have a
guy
bet.
from the big board.
That guy from the big board. Get out of here. Yeah, that's a good one, Chris. Like I said, I actually don't mind that people are reaching for Tony CD to have that Cowboys combo. It's like whatever. Round two is so weird also that you could reach. I used to reach for Tyreek Hill. People were giving me crap about taking Tyreek Hill last year, like at pick 13 with my Saquons. I was like, I like them so much more than Debo and the rest of those guys, and it worked out for me. Um, but I do think like stacking just the entire Lions Cowboys is just a little weird. Like just forcing those two teams into it just seems off to me.
No, you can go overboard.
Ooh, Damian Pierce fall. Tony, Hot Dotson. Dotson's been getting a lot of love. I mean, of course, we've been seeing everyone tout him lately. I have a Terry Dotson team, and I was like, this actually feels kind of fun.
Man, wide receiver is slightly gonna fall off here.
Hoping Hal gets good though.
Connor, taken from you. I'm going. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, let's buy
Gabe.
another Asian guy though. Ricky Nguyen. My Viet brother, I understand you, man. Screw it. I'll take the falling Pierce. I'm okay with it. People hate on Pierce. I don't understand it. He looked really good last year.
I love Damian Pierce. I feel like I was kind of getting boxed out at receiver, slight bit.
Yeah, I wanted that Connor, and I'm just kidding.
So I kind of, I pivoted in the second, third round from receiver, and it's like, if I don't just keep grabbing them here, there's probably not gonna be one I like come back to me. And I could have correlated with Tony, but I like taking the late Chiefs.
I mean, the late Chiefs just costs basically nothing, right? You're talking about Sky Moore. Sky Moore's been moving though. He was at 130, he's like 110, 115. But you can still get like Sky Moore. You can still get MVS. Rashi Rice is falling, at the expense of. You can get something going with those. And we still don't know who the receiver on that team is. If it's not all four of them randomly, right?
It's probably what it's gonna be. They're just gonna ping pong leagues. Jody Fortson's gonna catch some touchdowns. It's gonna be a conglomerate of guys.
What happened, Steph?
Let's see.
I don't know.
I don't either. Who did you get sniped on? Or did you get sniped?
Oh, I think she tried to get Waller.
Oh, Quentin. No, Quentin to go with her Herbert.
Okay.
This looks like she took a falling Herbert maybe with Judy, but didn't have Keenan or Big Mike.
Where was Quentin taking at? I don't see him. Oh, he was taking
one pick
before her. That's
one
funny.
pick for her.
Dang.
Hey, Gerald Everett's still back there for you. Josh Palmer.
He's such an ass. Josh Palmer.
I'll see what tried to be. You can throw some stacks on late. I mean, might as well correlate your 17th to 18th round pick.
Yeah, she types me on Urban Ice. Thank you, Shay. Tarek's a dick. Oh, man.
David Montgomery goes off the board here at 85. I like that.
Oh. Jameson William reach. That's pretty cool. I'm okay with that, actually. Like I said, I've been promoting a lot of J-dubs. Very into him these days. I even took him in my Dalmatian today.
I know. I got to get back into Dalmatian. I love that contest.
Swift on the slips. No one likes. Yeah, everyone's off of DeAndre Swift. There was a lot of touters, and then no one's.
I'm kind of coming back around with this Penny news.
It's just weird. I don't know. Like, who do we like there? What if it's Gainwell? How bad would you feel?
I would not feel bad. I've been taking a lot of Gainwell.
I mean, like people who, if you were a Swift taker, like how bad would you feel?
If Gainwell's just I don't see Gainwell just being the guy and
what if it's a three-way split? Then it just feels terrible too. Like it's not.
It's probably going to be a three-way split. And you're just hoping for upside.
Oh, man.
As far as like.
Don't you do it? Don't you people do it?
It doesn't feel like the draft is going to do that, but
you never know. People have been taking my people and taking them.
Sutton.
All right. Yeah, my boy.
All right, I gotta play the clip. Jeez, do I take Dalvin 13 picks best ADP?
14? Yeah, you're RB. You only have one RB. It makes sense. I mean, you want it more than Javonte Williams.
I definitely want it more. Yeah, why not? I'll take the fall. But in honor of Davis getting his boy Michael Thomas, Davis drafts another old.
I don't know. I just like them older.
That's so good. I love you. You're helping your grandfather James Conner down the hallway at the assisted living facility.
I just do it
as you take him to meet his other pal at the what are they playing checkers down the hall? Him and Michael Thomas together.
I'm okay with that. Okay, the correct term for old guys is veteran players. Okay, that's the correct name for them. They're called veteran players. Hope they're people too. They're still getting paid.
Oh man, this is a gross spot of the draft here.
Paul, what's up, man? Sorry, I didn't see you in the draft. I was like, oh, I wonder if Paul's here.
Jeez, I don't want any of these guys.
Damn, that's mean. You're not get your Patty F? Oh, you already have a tight end. You can't grab your Patty F.
I could. I'm just going to do Charbonnet for the millionth time.
Sharps. Sure, Sharps.
You got to enjoy that clip again. That's so good, dude. Davis drafts another old.
I don't know. I just like them older. It's not my fault.
Oh, wait, I played it preemptively. I should have waited to see who you picked here. Will it be?
No, I'm not gonna be an old
Oh,
guy.
Pat F. Love it. Good work. We should get them all all edited together, like him and Michael Thomas.
You're gonna have to figure out which one's.
It's a Chihuahua, Paul. We were gonna do BBM and then they dropped the Chihuahua. We're like, we gotta get our 25 entries in. It's already
25.
15% full.
So bad. You know, no one ever makes fun of guys who take like Alvin Kamara, right? Like,
Man, I kind
why,
of got buried at receiver in this
why does
room.
Alvin Kamara get a pass? Isn't he like a little bit older these days and also always more injured? And now he might be suspended. I'd rather have James Conner by far.
I actually would as well.
You know what's the weirdest thing is that like Kamara actually kind of had a good season last year. Like weirdly, he just didn't get the touchdowns. And it just sucks. It's just. I mean, there was a lot of people like victory lapping his non-suspension last season, and it ended up not being a good victory lap, even though he played all 17 games, or he played for the full season. Not all 17, but he played full season. It was pretty bad.
I'm gonna have to find some upside at receiver on this team. Taking the Dalvin Cook fall, which I don't mind. I mean, if you're gonna get a shot on him at pick 100, that he's a starter somewhere, I don't mind taking it, especially in this type of contest.
So Paul, there are people who take Kamara. It's the people who are like very, very in deep with like RB0, and they're just like, but if he comes back, like we get all the upside. Like I'm like, it's I feel like when you have to take when you're in that RB0 and you're just that desperate, like Kamara just be so much more appetizing. Just feels like he's the guy.
It's such a murky room. Even if he gets a lighter suspension, and I know he's more talented than the other guys in that room, it's tough.
I mean, you still got Kendre and you got Jamal, who
And
basically
Taysom stealing
and
goal
Taysom,
line.
all TD thefts, and the fullback. Who was that fullback last year that stole some touchdowns? A little freaking bastard. There was a fullback too. He also stole some touchdowns. He took like I think 2, and it was like really irritating to like watch. Um, it's just gross. I can't do it.
I don't know which fullback you're talking about, to be honest.
He's not anything special. It's just a Saints fullback. I'm just have to look at it. How many touchdowns he got? Let's see.
This is the counterpoint from Andrew on Connor. It's definitely a concern. That's why I, unlike Davis, will have 60%, not have 60% Connor. But I think if he can stay healthy, the volume's going to be there, and I think that's an underrated thing too. Like, I think
I
the
actually
bad teams narrative is
I
overrated.
expect him to miss games. Honestly, that's a big thing for me. I expect him to miss games. I'll be honest with you. I expect James Conner to miss like 4 or 5 games. But knowing that, and he's still at pick 85 to 90 sometimes. Like that's totally fine with me. He's never missed seasons. That's the one thing I'm like always happy about. Like he's not missing seasons. He's missing a few games, and as far as we've seen him, when we talk about injuries with them, everyone assumes it's like season long. When he just misses like a few games, that's fine.
Yeah.
No, not my B Robs. Have you seen that Antonio Gibson leave to B Rob?
He's getting some good steam. He's getting some good camp buzz for sure.
That just seems so weird to me.
There's also some like
feels
veteran
gross.
running back whispers there as well. Jeez, I need a receiver. Get a little correlation with my Atlanta bet here. Gotta grab Mooney. I'm gonna have to scroll down.
The buffoonery with Mooney. I was thinking about grabbing Mooney. I was like, oh, I don't want to grab 2 of the Bears receivers on one team. I'll grab 1, but 2 is a little excessive. I was looking at Jacoby Myers stats too. I'm not a big Myers guy, but if he has a shot at a couple touchdowns, and
Sniped on Rashi Rice and Sky Moore.
that's what I was actually looking for with Sky Moore earlier, but he was gone.
Not too worried there.
Ugh, why is week 13? the worst time for quarterbacks.
Jeez, it's a gross spot when you already have, man, man, I do not want to pick any of these guys right now. I'm just gonna take Gallup because I need some more receiver depth here. Gotta kind of play catch up once you get your guys taken and both Chiefs receivers go off the board before I can get that stack.
I'm a little surprised that I haven't seen certain ADPs like fall down yet. Um, Primarily the one that really surprises me that hasn't slipped is A Chain. Like Devon, like he's like it's still at 118, and I think someone was asked that sauce on another stream. They were just like, "Who's still taking this guy? Like who's still taking Devon up here like consistently that his ADP isn't plummeting? This guy should be at like the 140, 150 zone."
I agree with that. He was not a
While
guy I've been
Dalvin
super
Cook,
high on. I kind of like some of the reports we were getting early on about him, trying to add weight after his track days at A&M. But man, it's just such a crowded backfield. And then without the Dalvin Cook news settled, I have cooled off on taking A-Chain.
yeah, it just makes no sense. I mean, I still take Wilson and Mostert, but they're going so late that it doesn't even really affect you too hard. Like A-Chain is going early enough that you're losing out on like quarterbacks, wide receivers, etc. Who took him this time?
I just like the QBs more so in this range than,
Yeah.
and I like Elijah Mitchell better than him. And I think we kind of said it a little bit too. It's just a questionable backfield at the moment on a half PPR site with a guy we don't project to get a lot of between the tackles work, which I know he did at A&M. But it's more so I'm just kind of cooling until we know where Dalvin Cook goes.
I mean, it's right now it's a three RBs, not including Cook if he does somehow end up there, which I don't think he will, but it should be in the back of everyone's mind. Wilson, Mostert, and then he's a rookie. Rookie running backs don't always come in and just dominate. Sometimes they just take a minute.
He
I
does
get
have that big play upside though, like the guy who can change a game. He can make your lineup on like 2 plays.
you also got to
Um,
think about how bad that Dolphins run game was. Like offensively, their line's just terrible. The Dolphins' line's extremely terrible.
I like him at 133 better.
Yeah, makes way more
But
sense.
she went at 127 here. I mean, it's a slight fall. It's more
I mean,
so when he got steamed up to like pick 100, 110.
I mean, you still got a lot of viable players on board too. You still got like right now, like look at Nico. Like Nico's there. I'm not the biggest on Nico this year. I liked him before, and he's going pretty high. But there's a lot more guys that are in situations where they can put impact on your team.
Yeah.
Versus what A-Chain may not impact your team at all until random one-offs. And let's say you get 4 big games out of him. At pick 112 is 4 good games, really like that good attrition rate that you want to pay for 4 games. In my mind, it doesn't seem like it would be enough.
Yeah, he's definitely. I think you can still make cases for him. Like, I'm not totally out, but I get what you're saying.
Chris, all summer.
That's tough. Let's see. We're back around here. How's your team looking?
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I think both of us kind of got a little buried in this wide receiver heavy drafts here.
I could have avoided it and maybe taken one receiver, but I took the following double running backs.
Yeah.
And then obviously I reached for my Najee. I just can't grab those guys. I was hoping some people would come back around, but it did not come, obviously. I will just grab the people that matter.
All of us in this draft just hate our teams. Steph hates our team. I don't hate my team. I think the Pollard Mahomes split from wide receiver hurts when I miss out on the 2 Chiefs stacking pieces that I wanted. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab MVS so I don't get sniped on another Chiefs receiver, knowing that the person here at the 1 hole reached 14 picks on Rice. So I'm just gonna make sure I get some type of stacking partner.
I agree. There's a chance that Najee would have came around. But we also thought that I was able to get James Conner, but he went up 13 picks early. So who knows? Who really knows? I get it. I feel bad when I don't get certain guys at that point. I'm just dealing with it.
Yeah. Let's see. I hate having to reach like that, but I don't want to leave a draft with a naked Mahomes team. Let's see.
We grab MBS.
I did. I already reached on him. I had to reach like 12 picks on him though.
I mean, at this point though, like, what's a reach? Like,
That's
what's
fair.
realistic? Like, what really is a reach at this point? It's all these guys are just like in really questionable situations. Thanks, Paul. Yes, please like, subscribe, share with a friend, share with your cousin that may not play fantasy football, but you're trying to get him into it, and you're saying, "Hey, look, other people play. That's cool." We do appreciate it. We broke 300 subscribers. It's obviously we tweeted it out to get there, and I'm glad we did. People really jumped in on it. All right, who do I want to
grab? Kendra, 10 picks past ADP.
Dulcich went, so I don't get Dulcich. I had to get my boy Kokomets.
I like that, getting that double with Fields.
I like Komet. I know people are really down on him. His expectations were so high last year, and I think that's Twitter's fault, not his. I always feel like people like push these certain guys. I remember like Trey Burton for the Bears. Everyone was like, "Oh, Trey Burton's that guy. He left the Eagles. He's gonna be him. He was amazing for the whatever," and then he fell short. And I think that's more of Twitter's issue of pushing players and then them falling short. Like, he should have always been a very, very late tight end versus a early-ish guy with Knox in them and Schultz.
Let's see. Reed goes. Steph grabs. She hits our Everett to go with the Justin Herbert Seagull. Let's go.
I'm going to sniper Palmer on the comeback.
That's a good pick, though. So where are you at on your BBM pacing? I haven't checked in with you in a minute on that.
It's pretty bad. I am 60-something right now, maybe? No.
Solid.
So let's see. Let's find out. 60. It's exactly 60. I thought I hit past that. Exactly 60. I did my UCC number 8 today. It was absolutely terrible. But good news, I was able to get James Conner and Michael Thomas in that one too, so that was awesome. I stacked. I got Patrick Mahomes. It ended up being naked because everybody in my draft like reached on all the Chiefs by
Similar
like 10 to 15 picks. Yeah, and it made no sense to me. So I got stuck with like naked Mahomes, but the rest of my team is stacked though. Like Stafford is stacked, and I have a lot of correlation on that one, but I felt so bad. I was like, So I'm at 60. What about you?
37 right now. I'm trying to go at a slightly slower pace. I want to do most of mine middle July on into August. So I'll probably, I don't know, might be right around 50 at the end of this month. We'll see. But yeah, I'm kind of going at a slower pace, wanting to see and let more news come out because I don't think like there's going to be any huge ADP changes between now and training camp. And so I'm kind of taking it slow.
So right now we're seeing obviously a lot of landmine players flying out there. So I know this is just getting in my head right now. Is like, if you were to draft the rest of your BBMs today, or not all in once, but if you're drafting Chihuahuas and BBMs, are you taking Hopkins at his ADP 40?
Yeah, I'm knowing that I took him in this draft.
Yeah, likely knowing that he's a Patriot.
It's a good question of whether you think he would fall because he goes to the Patriots or stay the same.
I think he falls.
Falls around 2 rounds?
I think he falls half a round. Wide receiver like inflation is like no joke right now.
Wide receiver inflation.
Wide receiver inflation is a real deal. Look at this. Oh my god, there was like 2 guys on my board and they're all gone. You know what? I wanted that Rashid Shaheed. Thanks, Steph.
You didn't even get Mims to come back to you?
I know. I didn't get none of that. None of it came back. Oh god, I hate this room. All right. But and Curtis Samuel just went. All right, cool, thanks. But like, so like the whole thing is like I've been drafting Hopkins as if he's a Patriot, and he doesn't slip for me. He stays exactly where he is in my board. I would take him as that 2-3 turn. I didn't take him today, obviously, but I was considered taking him there. Like I take a little bit of Hopkins still. Mac Jones is not terrible enough to make Hopkins bad.
No, and I mean everyone's talked about it, but them actually having an offensive coordinator is going to help a lot. Mac was not terrible his rookie year.
No, it's just really bad play calling last year. And here's another thing. We were talking about how bad Justin Fields' weapons were. So what's the Patriots?
The Patriots are awful.
They literally had like the ugliest wide receiver room in the league, and I would say that's even bad comparison to like the Bears, because at least we knew who Darnell Mooney was. Like nobody was sitting there going like, man, really, Jacoby Myers was about it, and then you had Kendrick Bourne, like Devontae Parker, and every other rando out there. Like no one was stoked about that team's wide receiver room. So I don't know why the expectation for Mac was to be good. No, my Juwan Johnsons.
I do not have a love here. Pick Mostert. I'm just gonna grab Knox. Actually, I'm going 3 tight end on a Pitts build. I'm totally fine doing that with him with the inconsistency he's probably gonna have. And worst case scenario, either of these tight ends can fill my flex as well.
All right, I stacked the full Bears offense. I got Fields, Foreman, TJ Moore at Komet. It's okay, Steph. I had Michael Thomas. I was going to stack that receiving core, all right, and then I was going to stack Juwan Johnson. So if my Michael Thomas got hurt, I have my handcuff. No, I've been taking like Hopkins, and here's the thing too. Hopkins' week 17 isn't as bad as it seems, because if he goes against the Bills, I feel like he can still do well against the Bills defense. I feel like we're overshadowing that game a lot because of possible weather. But like Hopkins was relatively good. I think he was on pace for like a top 14 wide receiver session last year, even with Colt McCoy. So I don't know why people were kind of just, I just don't think he should shift down. I would feel better about having them over others.
And there's some injury concerns right now with Patriots, with Juju not participating. Yeah. And again, it's OTAs, it's early. But he seems to kind of already be banged up. Tyquan missed most of OTAs, if not all of it. I'm pretty sure reading that. And so
Bill Belichick is like actively recruiting him right now. Actively. When Bill actively recruits a guy yeah, exactly. When he actively recruited Darrelle Revis, they want a ring. So like
that's not gonna happen with this team, but
no, but they're trying, right? Like you're actively recruiting a
no, they're gonna try and be competitive for sure.
So it just seems so funny to me. So I want it. I don't think Mac Jones is that bad of a passer by any means, and that can make Hopkins worse. And Hopkins has played with.
I mean, he's been awesome with like the worst quarterback. The thing with him is you worry about the age cliff eventually hitting, right?
True.
He's not that athletic of a receiver. He's never been someone to make these huge
he's never been like
plays.
He's never been a.
He's more of a possession guy.
But we're paying up this year for wide receivers, so I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, do you like him more than some of the guys in pick 50? Do you like him more than Ayuk, as we talked about earlier?
I mean, I took him over Mike Williams and Christian Kirk, if that tells you anything. I do like him over those two guys. Yeah, I like him over mostly everyone. I mean, if he goes to the Patriots, maybe if he slides back, we're Godwin, Pittman. I don't know.
I feel like the community's already kind of assumed he's going to be exactly what he's going to be there. It's like it's going to be him, and as a Patriot, I think that's the assumption at this point. I don't think anyone's pitching that he's a Chief. If it was, they would be drafting him at pick 30 right now.
Yeah.
Ooh. All right. My correlation on this team is non-existent. I wasn't able to get Dulcich or Mims, so that was cool.
Got a little bit of Cincy KC going on. I've got Atlanta, Chicago going on. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Jeff Wilson. I take a good bit of him, but get a little more consistency and could have the little backfield stack with him and Cook. I don't love that as much if he ends up going there, but we'll see.
There goes Slayton. Of course, there goes.
Some of these QBs are falling. Yeah, Andrew Rank's point. D Hop can still draw targets. He did last year.
Exactly.
He had a
With
couple
Colt
really
McCoy.
a couple really high target games with Colt McCoy. Like I'm just not as big on full fading offenses. There's fantasy relevant guys on every team. Let's see here.
And that's all it comes down to. I just think he's gonna work out. Steph, you're so mean. I'm not drafting Tim Patrick. No, I'm a Mims guy. All right, Mims is the 2 there and 3. He's one of the 2. I'm not taking a ACL torn 29-year-old wide receiver.
Jeez.
I don't like. I like them old, but they have to be able to use their walker.
Trying to decide if I'll just tell the people in here. Should I just take Ritter? I mean, I have Pitts and London. Do I just take my Ritter now, or try and push him back around? That is the question. There's still 4 QBs on the board ahead of him.
What are the 4 QBs though? Oh, it's
Well,
Kyler. Yeah, Kyler's most likely to get drafted before he gets taken.
Kyler, Stroud, and it's just like, do I want to just take Gus from you, or
You could. Do you need him though?
I'm just not
yeah,
gonna
you could
risk
use him.
him getting sniped. I'm just gonna grab Ritter. I'll take what comes back around.
Well, Gus for me.
Probably could. Yeah, I'll give you Gus. I probably could have pushed him there, but I don't know. I've been sniped so many times in this room already. I'm just gonna grab the stack. We'll see what comes back around. Yeah,
I'll take.
Normally, if I wasn't streaming Andrew, I would have pushed Ritter for sure. And not that anyone in here, like Steph's not gonna snipe me, and Davis isn't, but
Yeah, my team's
yeah, that was a scared bunny move right there by me.
I mean, it just feels worse if you don't get him, because then who do you get left with?
I mean,
you're hoping you get Kyler, but if you got left with, I mean, are you gonna run away?
And I would imagine like some of the other quarterbacks are still gonna even be here when I get back around.
I mean, you're gonna get left with Kyler, Stroud, Mac Jones, Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield, Tannehill. I know it just seems kind of awkward to me.
I would consider Matt Collins in the 18th, and like it's probably not the worst, but I do already have London and Pitts, so I don't know how much of that passing game in Atlanta I want. But also, it's the 18th round pick, right? Like, also Davis is probably gonna take him at 213.
He goes up my stack.
He does. I took your other pieces in the stack. I took London and Pitts.
Yeah.
To not give you any bringbacks. No, it makes sense. I'm probably not going to take him anyway. So if you want him, he's yours.
Gotta get my guy. Gotta get my boy Hollins. I mean, it's like I could draft anything else. I can't really draft. I mean, I guess I could take another running back. My running backs are technically on the lower side, slightly. Could get Joshua Kelly. I've been taking a lot of Joshua Kelly because, like after being burned with like the whole James Robinson thing, I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna grab the guy who's officially gonna be on a team. I'm just gonna be Kelly. It's gonna be Kelly and like Jordan Mason.
Some 18. I have taken some 18th round CPAT as well.
Cordell Patterson. Yeah.
You could take Cordell Patterson on your team as your bring back.
No, I would not. I would not. Not. God. How many points we get for kick returns? Just kidding. Oh man, I'm not sure if you remember like 2014, like Cordell Patterson hype. That was a thing. A lot of Twitter guys would have got receded really hard that year.
2014 CPAT hype.
Yeah, it was huge. We were all over him. We were like, that's the next guy. He's the wide receiver 1 for the Vikings. It's gonna be cool. He plays out of the backfield. And then he didn't do anything for like 7 years.
I've taken CPAT. I think he's gonna play. And especially with like their weird pass catching core, there's a chance he plays in the slot some. I remember him at Tennessee. Because when he came out, I remember how old I was. I know I wasn't in the fantasy streets at that point. A Sean Tucker pick from Steph. I like it. Did I miss a report on him? Steph, I know Sean Siegel mentioned him a little bit on Bananas. But I don't know.
Yes. Thanks, Steph. Steph remembers CPAT year.
Oh, you're bringing back your car. Okay.
What did she take? Oh, that makes sense.
You just
Okay.
say just hammering out that correlation in the 18th round. I don't mind it.
Yeah, 18th round's so goof. It's so freaking goofy.
Yeah. Let's see.
I think
I
this
got
is
my
like my
big headline.
first Bears Atlanta stack I've ever done. A Bears
Oh, you know
Atlanta
what? I'm gonna run
correlation.
back Pierre on my Buffalo stuff for a little correlation. Grab Pierre Strong.
You don't want Ty Montgomery?
Probably could have used the 8th receiver on this team. Feel a little weak there with Gabe as my 4. But I don't want to force any of these guys I don't love. Claypool would have been an option to keep betting on that Chicago Atlanta game in week 17, but I've already got Mooney.
I mean, you
I
would
don't
have
know.
gotten the ADP value on him too.
Yeah, it would have been the worst pick, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab Pierre to run back that Buffalo stuff.
I remember 2 years ago when everyone said Claypool was better than Deontay Johnson. That was cool. No, we're not doing that anymore.
Mapletron.
Hope your projections are low. That means you're gonna lose. 23.93.
This is not my favorite team. I will say that. Got a little buried. The Mahomes, Pollard. I don't really know what I would have done though if I don't take Pollard or Mahomes. Like I still would have wanted one of these RBs. Maybe I could have done because not getting T or Devonta just makes it tough when they don't fall back around.
That was rough. Quick
Fun
review.
teams overall though. Do what?
Let's do a quick review.
Yeah, let's pull it. Do my team. So we got Mahomes here with MBS, bringing him back with Jamar Chase. Got kind of sniped on some of our Kansas City stuff we wanted to do. We got Mahomes, Ritter, Pollard, Cook, Charbonnet, Kendrick Miller, Jeff Wilson, Pierre Strong as my running backs. Took the fall on Dalvin Cook. Haven't been doing that much, but since it's the Chihuahua, I figured why not.
Pick 90 is 4 is like fine. Like I would grab him there. Any format.
It's such low risk.
Yeah. I mean,
receivers,
it's still high risk, but the payout's just worth it at 94 for a guy that we know is probably an RB1 for any team he gets to, right? So that's fine.
Receivers, Jamar Chase, DeAndre Hopkins, Drake London, Gabe, Mooney, Gallup, and MBS. And then tight end room of Kyle Pitts, Sam Laporta, and Dawson Knox. Got some good week 17 correlation mixed in there, mostly with the later picks than my earlier picks. But yeah, it's a solid team. Don't love it, which means it'll probably be one of my best teams I drafted all year. But
that's how it's true, man. What was it? I sent Nez and you guys in the chat. I was like, my auto draft team last year was like an 1840 point team, and it had like Jalen Hurts, Lamar. It had a 3 quarterback team and it had Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson on it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, look,
right, cool.
I didn't push Ritter, and all the other quarterbacks came back. I could have easily pushed him. I don't really know though. I mean, Pierre Strong versus Gus Edwards. I like Gus better there. But that 2v2, I don't necessarily mind that much of, especially now with James Robinson out of town. All right, your team?
Justin Fields with correlation on Deontay Foreman. God, DJ Moore and Cole Kmet is my Bears with
it's a fun team
back on Mac Hollins. Russell Wilson is naked. So let that sink in your mind. Najee Harris, Miles Sanders, Damian Pierce. I didn't really get a lot of these guys. Gus Edwards to go against my Tyreek Hill, kind of why I wanted him there. T. Higgins, Michael Thomas, Jacoby Myers, Van Jefferson and the Giants with Isaiah Hodgins. You know, everyone's betting on him to be the wide receiver 1 for this team. I like that bet. I'm taking that as much as I can. Pat F, Cole Kmet, and the Jets. This is basically just a Bears team. Bears and friends.
Hey, I like this team.
Actually, I think correlated.
I think we're both slightly weak at receiver. But it's a solid team. I love your tight end room.
Yeah, tight ends worked out. I just think my receivers are gonna be like all over the place.
Paul says run it back until you draft a team you like.
I will be here all night, man. I hate all my teams. Hate them all equally.
Fun though. That was a fun draft. I love this new contest. I like that they keep adding stuff for us to fire on.
I mean, and plus it's a time box, right? It's like super smart. Oh, it's 25. You're not, part of our big gimmick is when we outmatch everybody with 150 drafts, but this puts a lot of people on even playing field. A lot of people can get 25 drafts in on this, or at least 10
they can. It's $100 to max this. I think that's a really good price point for all different types of people drafting on Underdog. And yeah, it's nice. I don't have to be in 60 Puppy Too Slow drafts, which I'm currently in. And if you see me in one of your Puppy Too Slows, and you're like, why did she make that pick? It's because I was auto drafted. I've been auto drafted so many times already.
Gotta try to
yeah,
win,
all
man.
fast. Yeah, it's a true time box tournament, which is really cool. So
Yeah.
hopefully we keep getting more of this stuff from Underdog. If you're not playing on Underdog, of course, if you're watching this, you probably are. But if not, use promo code HOPE, get a $100 deposit match. Helps both me and Davis here. Davis repping the Underdog shirt.
What?
Yeah, we love Underdogs. Basically, the only site we draft on. I dabble on DK, but yeah.
Traitor.
Like Davis said, if you're new, we really appreciate you hanging out. We're gonna be here all summer long and into football season as well, doing daily stuff, battle royale stuff, especially. So yeah, throw a sub on there, turn on the notifications, all that stuff. I'm really bad at self-promoting, but
I'm dreading battle royale season. I am absolute ass. So if
you
you want to see somebody
play in
lose,
it?
well, because I'm gonna be on the show with you. I have to do some of them, right? Like, oh god, I'm gonna. If you guys want to see someone burn money, like stick around for battle royale season with me. It's pretty.
I
Bad.
can't wait. Battle royale, DFS. I was talking to someone the other day. I don't remember if it was in Discord or what. I was like, dude, I cannot wait till I'm sitting in front of my computer Sunday morning, looking at the projections, the ownership for DFS. It's still a game I love BestBall, and it's like probably my favorite now. But something about DFS, like it's I think it was my first love, and so I still love playing it every Sunday. So I'm gonna be doing some of those streams. I think some Saturday night streams where I'm just ripping battle royales as well as talking a little bit of DFS. Probably not. I think DFS, talk isn't really made for streaming as well as just ripping drafts is. So we'll be doing a little bit of both.
I always used to
call DFS. We'll do a little bit of both.
I used to call DFS "Don't fucking suck" because if you do, you're not gonna make any money.
Dude, you can be great and build extremely good lineups over and over and over and still lose. Like, I've won one tournament on DraftKings, and like every week I feel like I'm building good lineups, but it just has to come together that one week to pay off. So
it's got to bet on that week 17 Ravens and Miami again.
Yeah, shout out Ravens Dolphins for that epic game they played last year. We love it. But thank you guys for hanging out.
See you Thursday.